picked up yet as far as like the more defensive ones goes, but Dazzle's going to get banned now. There's still a Wyvern out there.
Yep.
Great against the Slardar.
EHOME also sometimes run Wisp standalone, which I think is a very rare thing nowadays. They actually just use this for sustain, so they can breach the high ground much earlier. They also have run Chen before, so they have some unusual supports in their arsenal.
This taps in a little bit to the versatility of Vega, where they do have to go and ban out the Ember. You've got a decent hero to somewhat shut him down in the Night Stalker, at least through the early stages of the game, but it's just not a hero that EHOME like to run themselves, and so since it's in the pool,
they tried it for CTY, and it's just been not as good as the other heroes.
And the other hero that I think they should actually ban away would be the Gyrocopter, right? For me, it's Emberspirit and Gyro are two heroes that go for Vega Squadron, where at the same time, EHOME don't actually pick it up.
Good call. Any chance we see CTY Ursa?
I don't think he's played that in a long time.
Or is that an anti-Alk only strategy?
Pretty damn good against Alk, it has to be said. So, laning stage still pretty flexible here. The roles are somewhat unknown. We don't have a clear sense of where the teams want to go with their overall drafts. The Nyx does get banned out, and this is actually a hero that EHOME run, but a lot of other teams really don't. So, curious to see if they have something specific in mind with the Nyx ban out.
I think it's just really valuable versus the Queen of Pain, and as you said, EHOME do run it, so I think that's probably one of the more dangerous heroes. He also has a decent reaction to potentially the Slardar Blinken, if he's going to be the target. Spike Carapace real quick.
Yeah, and can really shut down Queen of Pain if she's split pushing, and especially if she doesn't have a BKB.
Combined with a Night Stalker, yeah, that would be such a dangerous game for Queen of Pain to do any kind of split pushing alone.
You also have to worry about the Broodmother if you're EHOME. It could be shaping up to be a Broodmother game.
They still have a couple of picks, but Darkseer is banned. Neither of these heroes are particularly great against Brood, certainly not in the laning stage. Night Stalker, yeah, if you get farm, you can hunt her, but you're much more worried about not getting bulldozed early on.
I like Winter Wyvern here. Specifically, I think it's pretty decent versus Slardar. Sometimes it's initiation. If you get the Cold Embrace before the Crush, you dodge a nuke entirely. Obviously, the amplified damage kind of signals as a beacon of who to hit, and the Cold Embrace can help out there. It's a controlling hero against Queen of Pain, and I think it would actually stop the Mag Broodmother.
Okay, is this a Wyvern now with the Queen of Pain and the Slardar there? I mean, especially with what we saw earlier with Vici when they had that demolishing game against Virtus Pro. They were the three that they picked first.
It definitely could be.
Albeit they don't have the option of the Undying in there, of course.
If they want to go Brood, then obviously you want to save that at least for the fourth pick here. I imagine EHOME might consider banning at fifth, depending on what their last two picks are.
Yeah, for me, Wyvern doesn't work as well on Vega Squadron's team because EHOME has a lot more sustain to them, and I think that's really important that Wyvern is to be picked up against more mobile and fragile heroes that you can pop during the Winter's Curse. The Earshaker definitely makes sure that there's no chance of Vega Squadron go for any sort of like weird Broodmother situation. So they're pretty much locked it in now that the Slardar is going to be played in the offlane.
I still don't think it's so clear cut. I think I've seen Broodmother pick a decent amount against Earthshaker. He struggles very early unless you have like a carry that can kill him early on. So I don't know. I'd still be looking out for it.
Obviously, once he gets like the Blink and has a bunch of points in Aftershock and has the Echo Slam, then he can somewhat shut down the Brood if he's got support. But the other hero that sometimes teams get ambushed by is Huskar. EHOME has decent physical damage. I wouldn't say it's exceptional. And they're going to totally switch it up here. This is the Bane counter, I suppose.
And this is something that they picked up in that series against LGD, right? That was actually a really good counter by them.
Yeah, great against the Sleep, the Grip.
Yeah, this is game 5. What turn?
Actually, you know, it's maybe even more picked for the Amp, potentially.
Yeah, take it away both the Amp, remove a lot of Bane's potential. You also have Shadow Strike in there. And I think you have Vega Squadron looking at potentially a lot of burst.
And it's a first pick here at the Major.
Wow.
5 seconds remaining.
I think he works pretty good in theory, but a lot of times what actually happens is Bane just sleeps Abaddon, and then you're like, okay, well, what I do now?
Or he just gets wrecked very early in the laning stage before he gets his level 6. And they are running a triple melee draft right now. You're up against the Queen of Pain. Vega still have a pick here. Maybe something they can look to exploit. It does tend to set you up for multiple hero crushes, the big sonic waves.
It's going to be Vega Squadron, something to think about as well, isn't it?
Yeah, they're taking their time here. This is also not a great hero against Broodmother. Tanky, but not very good at shutting her down.
I mean, as of right now, I don't really see anything too wrong with a PL pick. Some carry that
For Vega, you mean?
Yeah. Something else that they've been favoring a lot is the Sven. Although I don't really see the armor being particularly useful here.
There's a lot of nuke damage.
Yeah, I think it's more of a factor when you're facing a Slardar and
Maybe they want like that range damage dealer. The Wind Ranger comes to mind as a possibility. It's something they run on occasion with the Slardar. They go Wyvern.
Okay.
Well, hey, it's 3 melee heroes, and you're up against the Shadow Fiend, Interrupt the Requiem. Very likely to get multiple hero curses. This could be pretty ugly.
I feel like Vega Squadron definitely have to pick up a late game carry here, and Winter Wyvern would be able to like slow down some of the potential early push from EHOME.
5 seconds.
But again, I still look at this, and with the Abaddon, perhaps the early mech on SF, you've got a lot of sustain that I'm not sure if Wyvern is going to be able to cut through. And again, I'm not sure if they're going to be able to pop one hero. But Slardar Winter Wyvern does have an amazing amount of synergy.
I mean, they have so much anti-BKB versus the Shadow Fiend, though, and that's, you know, some things have been getting away with the first pick Shadow Fiend because there's been no anti-BKB, but all 4 of those heroes are really good versus it.
Yeah, EHOME definitely need another damage dealer. There's just so much lockdown right now. If it's only a Shadow Fiend. They have some decent defensive capabilities here. The shield, the main one, and EHOME. They are going to play it safe. They banned the Brood 5th. I still think that's the right move here. Not worth the risk. You know you're up against EHOME, though. This team very rarely goes for late game oriented strats. Their draft seems like kind of a mid game timing, so if you get too greedy of a carry, it might be something EHOME can punish.
We've mostly seen the fighter ones for EHOME, though, although there are the occasional anti-mage picks that we see for CTY.
Yeah, they ran one Spectre. They lost that game in 25 minutes. They ran an anti-mage. They won. They're going to ban out the Slark.
I think I'd still be fine with the Wind Ranger that you suggested earlier, Ben. They could put the Queen of Pain as a safe lane farmer here. The part of the problem with the Abaddon is oftentimes his range is very limited for those saving mechanisms of his heal and his shield, and that puts him at very close quarter where he's potentially shackled with the hero that he's trying to save, and it works really well with the Slardar.
We go with the Luna.
They needed a teamfight hero that would also push high ground.
This is like the poor man's gyrocopter, basically.
Yeah, exactly. The Abaddon makes the Luna a lot more viable, I think.
And I think you definitely need that second core that can scale. You're up against so much single target lockdown, so I do like the Luna grab here. In that respect, is a bit squishy, does have pretty good defensive heroes, and you want the frontliners as well with Luna, which they have, but we'll have to wait and see if it's going to be enough.
Yeah, we've often seen Luna just way too weak and just bursted down by Queen of Pain the whole time, but with the Abaddon, I think she's actually pretty viable in this situation and kind of dissuades Vega from running an aggro duel.
And there's no Broodmother. The last time we saw Luna versus Brood was the last time Toby was on the panel, I believe.
Yes.
This is really going to prevent, I think, a lot of, like the Phantom Lancer, I think, is less viable against the Luna. Animage, same thing there. I think they had to go for a mid-game aggressive hero.
Okay, so they go for the TA as the final pick. Game 1 of EHOME versus Vega Squadron in the lower bracket is brought to you by Synderen and Toby1.
You know, it means so much to me, Synderen. It means so much that LD remembers. He remembers. Thanks, LD. Much love.
He made it sound like I kicked off the panel for making that
Well,
comment.
I was replacing you on the panel at that time during the group stage. Then you came in and you all slaughtered me because the Luna got completely destroyed.
But you called it.
I called it. It didn't get played the way I thought it would be played, however, because that's one thing which Luna does give. She gives your entire team a big buff up during the team fights. You can clean out a lot if there's any kind of illusion kind of base. So she's a wonderful hero. She did get buffed up a little bit, so she's a little stronger now. And with the help of the Abaddon, maybe she can live longer than 2 seconds.
Yeah, that's generally Luna's problem. I think, was it the only Luna pick this tournament so far that she was against
It's
the Brute?
the only one I remember.
It
So
might have been picked one other time, but definitely some really difficult games that Luna.
yeah, it's never
Was it?
really an easy
sure.
game for a Luna. I think there was another Luna game where it actually came out on top because there was like a heavy CS Luna stat I remember seeing. But yeah, we can have the stats man let us know about that one later on. But for now, EHOME. It's interesting synergy they try and do. Like, they pull out the hero, which normally, if anyone was going to be a betting man, you'd probably look to see PPD being drafting this hero because it's one of his big heroes he pushed into the scene. But now we see Lanham on this Abaddon. How is the synergy meant to work for EHOME? What's the plan?
So this, to me, is one of the absolute best counter picks in the game against Bane and Slaughter. It's what triggered it. It's not because it has great synergy with Luna or with any of the other heroes for that matter. It's simply a way of addressing the problems that are Amplify Damage and Fiend Script that you can just remove with that Aphotic Shield. It's very powerful. And the unique thing about this as a support hero compared to every other support hero in the game is that you can't just kill it off and just play from there. A lot of other counter picks just get shut down if they get ganked, but Abaddon with level 6 can, of course, just trigger the borrowed time and play from there. Another very little bit of interesting synergy in this lineup is, of course, when Luna uses Eclipse, you turn day to night for 10 seconds. That's nice for Night Stalker. You don't plan around that in the lineup, but it actually does allow them to make use of Night Stalker a little bit more during the day.
There's also something which works during the nighttime, because when you have that increased vision that the Luna grants, and then the reduced vision the Night Stalker has, your smoke, you can actually get even closer to the enemy with it. So when you go for these smoke gangs, look for EHOME to just manipulate that a little bit more. Obviously not just about the Eclipse, it's about the whole vision kind of game which can come from EHOME into the midpoint of the game. And they can dive pretty heavily. Like, you put that Aphotic Shield over on a Night Stalker, he's going to willingly just jump in. And then you got the life which can be given from Lanham. And they're actually running almost a tri-lane here in mid as the Bane looking down on both the SF as well as the Abaddon. But with the shield up, the Abaddon can just get back to the front lines, and the TA can't just zone him out.
One more thing to keep in mind in this game, of course, is it is a support Night Stalker. They're already pressuring Pasha in the top lane. Night Stalker benefits a lot from having a Aphotic Shield. He's such an aggressive hero by nature during the nighttime. Even in a support role, he can extend himself even further into fights and look for kills. So I'm very curious to see this lineup from EHOME work. Or be played, rather, because it can backfire very hard. This support duo of Abaddon and Night Stalker can, it's double melee. You're playing into a lineup that has heroes that, on paper, are great against melee heroes. So they need the execution to be there, but I would love to see it work.
Yeah. I'm kind of keeping my eyes on this bottom lane, because Mag's already had a little bit of a crack at old 11. And on this off lane, with Slaughter now hitting level 2, the ability to have Sprint and chase after the Earthshake, because he went for Totem to start with that little bit of extra stun. But that's all he's got to really work with. The top lane's also getting a little bit contested, as Kaka as well as Lanham. They are going to slow down right now over on Solo, and Solo gets a little bit of life back with that brain stab, trying to run himself out, but Lanham's got the shield up. They don't want to attack into him, because then they'll just trigger the shield and kill off Solo, deny himself up to the Trolls, attempt to do it, able to do it as well. Vega not giving EHOME an inch, but they're not out just yet. Seema on the run. They saw everything with that Observe Ward. The TP, but there's a Lucent Beam available. It'll end up being cancelled, and Seema, he should be the first blood. He will be the first blood. Abaddon will take it. A nice little thing to have on his first outing here at the Frankfurt Major.
I'm very curious to see what skill build Lanham goes for here. If he takes Curse of Avernus on level 2, or if he goes for Miscall. This is an exceptional value point. The 15% movement speed bonus for himself and the allies against those targets is great, but it requires you to get in the first place. And in the mid game, it's very difficult for a banner to just commit into a fight. But this early in a try versus try lane scenario, it can help them chase them down very nicely. Yeah. He does have boots already as well. So
it's like, what do you want to throw out there? Like, you want to get the slow when you already have the void coming out from the Night Stalker,
coil.
And with the three nukes together, yeah, it's just so much burst damage.
Miss Coil isn't that great.
It's when you combine everything together.
This ability is a lot better than I remember. You never see this here in competitive Dota anymore, but just a reminder, it's a 4.5 second cooldown and 100 damage nuke for 75 health and 50 mana, so the trade-off isn't that great, but the fact that the cooldown is so low allows them to use it 2 or 3 times per engagement in this lane, I think.
So he's already looking at 200, 300 damage. That's half the life of the Queen of Pain, if they can keep it there, of course.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
little bit more of a difficulty. Surprising with Vega, like, because they've split up their combos. Normally you look to see like the Bane as well as the Slider work together. By the way, Slider having some fun here against Alt 11. He doesn't have enough mana for a fissure, and Mag not popping the sprint. Does not want to get involved there.
Oh, he really respected it. Okay, now he's going, because he had 10 stick charges.
Okay, yep, they give it a crack. He's still got enough damage. That Totem and Fissure are available, and the Earthshaker's running a bottle, so he's still got a lot of mana up his sleeve, and Mag, they're just playing around the creep wave.
This is a funny interaction. I do think Mag will kill him, unless...
Oh, the stun. Can't get the secondary fissure, and this will be a kill. The solo one coming the way of Mag. They really played Ring-a-Ring-a-Rosy until finally Mag finds the kill.
It's one of those situations where you're just trapped. Neither hero can, or well, Slara could easily get out, but Shaker, even with a TP scroll, knows he's going to get stunned if he tries to port out, so he has to try to kite and bait a bit. Didn't work. Pasha.
Top lane, they're going to use the Mango, and Pasha, Cold Embrace will protect him for the moment. Remember, he got that nuke coming back in again. Lana moves forward. Who's he going to shield? He's actually just going to go directly for the nuke. Shields up himself. He will still end up dying here. Yes, Seema does get the last attack in, but Solo won't be able to run himself away in time. Or will he? Kaka turns, and there's your Void. A 2-for-1 trade-off going the way of EHOME. And really propelling both this Luna and Night Stalker forward. The attack happening as we just hit that nighttime.
They're going to need it too, because now that Slaughter is level 6, he can solo kill this Earthshaker very easily until Old 11 gets his level 6. He's chosen to go for a 2-1-2 build. The interesting thing about this lane, though, is that it's difficult for Mag to figure out what Earthshaker has skilled. As long as he only uses these enchant totems for last hits very late, he can be more scared of Old 11 than he actually needs to if he thinks it's a level 3 enchant totem. But he is on 2-1-2.
If Mag was just an inch up, like if he actually hit that crush, then Pasha, with this rotation timing, would have been perfect. They'd find the kill on the offlane Earthshaker, and then more and more space comes for the Queen of Pain, and they're giving her the space now. Top lane wasn't successful enough for her. And she really does need that item. Like, what do you even do with this Queen of Pain? You're on an off-lane Quap. A lot of the Quaps we've seen throughout this tournament have been looking for that early Orchid. Can you still achieve that?
They've swapped him after 6 minutes and 1 death, so realistically he might find 1 or 2 kills in this lane, but he's only level 4.5 right now, so I wouldn't recommend Orchid. I think it's going to come out too late, and they have a Photic Shield against it.
Real trouble right now. Mag doesn't actually have the mana for a crush, but he's just going to keep up with Kaka and just try and beat him down.
He has it now.
Okay, he can just commit it and then just go back to well. Or ends up being the tower that gets the kill. No one battling up against both Old Chicken as well as Lanham Dammy does a lot of damage. That's a double damage with the Sideblade spill. Old Chicken's gonna drop. And Vega with 2 very quick kills.
Yeah, this early game is I feel like it looks pretty good for Vega. They're getting the key levels that they need on their heroes. I guess the Queen of Pain being the exception, but now that she has the safe lane, she'll get there. Slaughter won his lane. He can now rotate and try to put some pressure top. Of course, slightly difficult against the Luna, who will have Eclipse ready very soon, and the nighttime vision.
All right, so bottom lane, Night Stalker trying to make the most out of the end of this nighttime. They've only got 1 minute left, and the Fissure, Old 11, he can't block in Solo. In fact, Solo's now going to turn this around with a Nightmare, keeping the Earthshaker in position, allowing Queen of Pain to arrive, but very timidly does not move forward. That Echo Slam was still up, and mana was available, but up on top lane, CTY. Okay, Mag can try and get aggressive on CTY, but the second he moves away from the wave, he has to be careful, because then the Eclipse, every single one of them could hit him. Even with 1k life almost, Mag's still going to be careful.
Yeah, the sprint amplification is going to make it even worse, so... The thing about it is that he moves so fast that if CTY starts the animation, which he did right there, as long as you make the right call as the Slaughter, you can outrun, I think... You might take 2 beams and then you'll get out of range.
As long as you don't get hit by the Lucent Beam. Bottom lane, the Nightmare starting on the Earthshaker. There's no Sonic Wave available, but with the Earthshaker, Echo Slam, Old 11 commits so heavily. I think he realized he was going to die anyway. And Pasha blinks into the tree line. Old 11 with a stun. He'll find the kill. The heal came in just in time from Lanham. And now Solo will die as well. Vega committing so hard underneath that tier 1 tower. and it does not pay dividends.
That was such a perfect play from Lanham. I think he healed him in the fog, so Vega didn't know it was happening. I don't think they saw him in lane. And they think they can commit and get this kill easily, but what a turnaround play. This is so good for Old 11 getting level 8 minute 8:30. It's a dream for a dire offlane Earthshaker.
I was actually wondering too, when you run this offlane Earthshaker, would you have those critical timings delayed? Like he goes directly into treads to go with the wand and the bottle, or just the stick in the bottle, I should say. But that blink dagger timing, if he keeps having moments like this, they're going to be able to get that up, and CTY is so dead. Mag comes in, they do curse him up. CTY, fairly tanky. It's a little bit of chip damage out before he dies, but that required 3 heroes to come up to kill off just a Luna, and then, even then it wasn't easy.
I think the combination of heroes they brought up there wasn't the strongest either. They didn't have, for example, a Sonic Wave just for the burst. Regardless, they got the job done.
Kaka is baiting right now on top lane. He's staying close enough to Mag that Mag kind of has a feeling he can go, but Lanham hides in the tree lines. Instantly break off the stun with a shield, and then follow up with his own form of nuke.
I think he was spotted there by the crit wave. If Mag was paying close attention, he should have seen him since it is daytime.
He'll definitely be seen by the observer ward.
Now they're very, very visible.
The worst thing EHOME could do would be smoke on top of that ward, because Kaka's walking around with one of those.
And speaking of him, he's doing pretty well as Night Stalker on support. 15 CS minute 10, he's level 5, would obviously like to find a couple more levels as soon as possible. Speaks for itself. But 2-1-1. And we've seen other games with Night Stalker in this tournament where he turns out to be very strong and had a way worse start than this. And this time, he also has an Abaddon to help him become a threat in the mid game. So I could see this being a good Night Stalker game for him.
And the other calls still look pretty damn good for EHOME. Like, you look over to Vega and no one still is topping the net worth. He's on his way towards that Deso. Really nice timing for him as well. Made it a lot easier since it got cheaper. But EHOME now start their push. They've only got the buckler in the hands of Old Chicken. It's not the headdress instead. As, okay.
That is not a kill I would have looked for either.
Oh, it's an Echo Slam with a future control. It's
Shaker should never solo kill Queen of Pain without a dagger. So Old 11 just seized an opportunity there.
He didn't even have a good rune. Like, he had himself a bounty rune he picked up from the bottom lane. The big rune that came up at the 10-minute mark was the double damage for Old Chicken. So Old 11, we'll go back at Dota TV and look for that one later.
Mag, oh, that's bad news for the Shaker. But there's no bash available, so he might actually just... No.
Fisher TP out, they commit Sonic Wave to ensure the kill. Critical thing as well for the Queen of Pain to get that money back again. The Earthshaker was, well, he's still got a fair amount of level, so he's worth quite a chunk. While they were doing that, TA took out a big stack, and that allows for an 11.5 minute Desolator completion for no one.
That is super early. It might be the fastest Deso we've seen this tournament. We've seen a couple of TAs. I don't think any of them was sub 12. This is exceptionally good.
And he's so far ahead of the SF. Like, Old Chicken's moved up to do a couple more stacks. Because EHOME keep their supports up there, up on the top lane a little bit longer, the stacks weren't really heavy or early. So the efficiency of the farming of the SF hasn't been perfect. But you're already looking at the completed mech for him. So you have a 12-minute mech up for the SF. And this will allow EHOME to force the issue a lot more.
I do want to point out how good of a pick TA is, though. I think Vega found the best possible hero in the pool. There's no really good counter on the Dire side. The best you can find there is, of course, a good Requiem, dealing a lot of instances of damage. But removing Refraction, just that is going to become a challenge for EHOME.
I was actually wondering, too, then if Luna would try and go in for the early 4 levels up in Moonglaves, which means you have to sacrifice your aura. You can only put 1 point up into that Lunar Blessing. But CTY has already gone for the second point, so he's going to go for the standard build. Because Glaives will cause that TA to lose refraction during the fights.
I think Moonglaves have the weirdest scaling out of any spell in Dota.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. So you go 1, 3, 6.
Okay.
It's like the old Dro Agi buff up.
Yeah, that's some weird stuff. Well, I think CTY in this game has to get a Manta. They need multiple instances of damage to get rid of this refraction, and he's the only one who can really do it with a Zero. Him or the Shadow Fiend. It is a requirement. Since Vega, or rather no one is already having such a good game on TA, they have to know he has incredible farm because of this Deso timing. If they don't itemize against him, this is the kind of game where TA can just take over completely and just run you down.
Interesting to watch the trade coming out from EHOME and Vega at the moment. So EHOME take out the tier 1 tower. The SF's able to gain that, and he's already forcing into the tier 2 tower, trying to force a rotation off. Now Vega, the trade-off is that Mag is getting a lot of farm up on top and getting closer and closer towards that Blink Dagger, and that will give Vega a lot more secure initiation. Mag, if you really want to jump forward for this one, 11, able to get that stun off with the Echo Slam. They ensure the kill on Mag. Well, you might hit with the Sonic Wave. A lot of the damage is repaired for Lanham. He's got shield off cooldown in 1 second time. Old Chicken gonna get cursed up. That's a big lockdown on top of EHOME. No one needs to do more damage. However, they get through the refraction charges, but the Nightmare from Solo buying him a little bit more space with the Cold Embrace. Not gonna do enough. Not when CTY turns on the Eclipse, looking for more damage. Siemens is gonna get beaten down by the Earthshaker. CTY, well, he can't even get that last lucid beam off because the Void from Night Stalker. Kaka able to find the kill, and they get a 4-for-1 trade-off in favor of EHOME.
That was all about the initiation. The fact that Slaughter got blown up before the fight even started. I think at that point, if you're Vega, you're just like, okay, we got caught off guard and we can't take this fight. But they tried to commit further in and ended up in a pretty bad 4-on-5 where the idea was good enough and they did get the kill on the Shadow Fiend, but there's just so much more in EHOME's tank after you've committed everything for that kill. I think they didn't even get their mech off, and they still won that fight convincingly.
He died without using it.
And there's one thing you should keep an eye on in this game, of course. This was the biggest buff in a long time that Abaddon got, and a buff I thought would bring the hero maybe back into the metagame. It didn't. But you can cast your ultimate whenever you want. So even if you're nightmared by Bane, you can just pop Borrow Time and help your allies out. So they can't really shut him down. They can't prevent Lanham from getting out of disables and getting a Photic Shield onto his core of choice. Nice deny by no one.
So this kind of begs the question now. Is Vega in any position where they can beat EHOME in just a direct fight?
Yes.
When EHOME have all their ultis up?
They can, and the last fight was actually close if Mag just wasn't dead. Because what they what they managed to do is exactly what needs to happen. They need to get a Winter's Curse on a target where Abaddon is part of the curse. And they did that on Old Chicken and blew him up, but it was still just a 4-on-5 fight, essentially.
Well, EHOME now going to have a secondary life, so next one will be 5-on-6. As an easy pickup now for EHOME, Roshan. Just a simple walk in. They will have to trade off on the top lane as the Queen of Pain is up there pushing pretty hard. And already Earthshaker TP's back to the mid lane. So Roshan belongs to EHOME. They're stacking up the Ancients at the same time, and Old 11, he's itching for another fight. Echo Slam comes off cooldown in 5 seconds time. He's already got it up at level 2. So not only did you get 5 on this Earthshaker with Blink Dagger, and almost probably even at 4-star with the Staff of Wizardry now being purchased, he's got a level 2 ulti already. If they catch TA without refraction, that's gonna hurt like hell.
Yep.
And CTY is already looking for support. Solo's out a very long way on the bottom lane. And in fact, with this rotation coming in, both Kaka as well as Old 11, Solo, he can't even TP out. If he goes into the tree lines, like he'll attempt this, but the Fissure will easily reach him. And now with the Void as well, the Nightmare's still controlling him, but then they go for one quick Lucid Beam. And the Bane will end up dying, getting a little too confident on that bottom lane.
Man, this Night Stalker's getting really rich. He's got 4 kills. Only 1 death to his name, double assists, and of course earn Tranquils and 2,000 gold. This could be such a fast Aghanim Scepter for Kaka if they give him a little bit of farm priority. Looks like CTY says, nope, get off these 2 creeps. I need absolutely everything, but
he needs that Manta,
man.
whatever
he wants.
He needs that Manta, or SMY.
Yeah, curious to see which choice it is. I think this is a great Manta game. Although, of course, as we mentioned, he does have the Abaddon to take off the Amplify. It's still good to have more choices and to be able to break through the refraction.
Bottom lane pressure's kicking in again, and no one still on his way towards that BKB. He can pick up his Mithril Hammer. So the damage output of the TA is still very, very good. Like, you're still looking at 230 damage coming out from her before her Mithril Hammer arrives. I kind of like the switch up from Pasha too. He started, okay, CTY should be dead. Got a couple of one charges and 11
Oh
with
my
the
God.
Echo Slam and the Eclipse. He ain't dead at all. Live and kicking EHOME. With the help of Old 11, just turns it around and no one's on the run out of here. Lanham wants to catch up, just want to take a bomb down. Old 11's going to do the work. The curse is there. It does include at least the Abaddon. And Earthshaker will end up dying.
Solo must have had the biggest deja vu right there. He did the exact same thing as before. He nightmared a hero, ran into the exact same spot in the tree line, but this time he got out with the TP, so he had to escape there. Still a good fight for EHOME. 2-for-1 trade. They should also get this tier 2 tower, knowing that Sonic Wave and Winter's Curse are on cooldown. Vega just don't have what it takes to fight into this.
They really don't. Not when the Earthshaker was also that close. If they were able to pick off the Luna so quickly, like, then it could have been better. But the fact the Earthshaker had time to arrive to help out CTY. CTY, that's now the second Eclipse we've seen him trigger, and every single one's been away from creep waves and isolated heroes of Vega. So really effective ultis out from him.
This has been a really solid game from EHOME so far. They're even managing to stack the Ancients very nicely here. This is a is that, no wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, it's 10 stack on the Ancients. I think it's a 4.
Man, you're scaling that as well as the glaive bounce.
It's a lot. When he's probably going to wait until he has Moonglaive level 4 so he can farm it. That bounce increase from 3 to 6 is massive for farming Ancient stacks, of course.
Interesting to see with this great start from the Night Stalker. He doesn't go for the early gags like I thought he might. Instead, he gets obs, he gets smoke, and he builds a Vladimir's offering for EHOME. Strengthening up their fighting even more. And, well, Night Stalker, when you got Lanham behind you, these initial stuns don't really count for anything. It's so problematic. Like, you think you've got yourself a good initiation, but if you don't catch the Abaddon, initiation doesn't do anything.
And it's funny when you see how this game has developed so far and how much Lanham has managed to accomplish that this hero is never picked. It's really a great showcase of its strengths, and in my opinion, a pretty forgotten hero who even, as we mentioned, got a big buff on his ultimate and his Aghanim Scepter. Should you manage to acquire that somewhere down the line, it's one of the best Aghanim Scepters in the game. Like, it's absolutely incredible.
One of the old problems was he was never in range, though.
Yes.
Like, so you had to get like Blink Daggers and Force Staffs on the Abaddon to make it work.
Well, he still has the same bad cast range on Aphotic Shield. That wasn't changed, but the fact that you can stay close to your carry now and still get it off simply because of the borrowed time just means you basically have a get out of jail free card for your carry almost all the time. Imagine if Wyvern wasn't in this game. Then they couldn't even do the curse. That's one of the best counters in the game, essentially, to Abaddon doing that thing, and they're still making it work very easily.
If you want the answer for CTY, he is most definitely saving up for a mech. For a Manta. You actually have Old Chicken also completing up a Manta, so they can have double Mantas available for EHOME.
Yeah, very good
Vega,
choice.
smoke movement, Old 11, he's going to get initiated on. Mag gets the good start off, but how much work can he do? Old Chicken Fiend script up, Mag isolated on the hillside. But can this SF get his mech off in time? No, he can't. It's just a death ulti. Lanham wants to move forward as Seema, locked in by this vision. No one's BKB. It's now going to wear out and wait for your Eclipse time. CTY's ready to go, and he's moving forward, but the curse! Getting all of EHOME holds him in position, but it's not enough. Seema will still end up dying, but at least it keeps EHOME away from the two big cores of Vega.
I think that was a good curse. I'm not sure if they could have caught up, but the risk-reward ratio here, well
just
worth
the safety
it to
first.
Yeah, just get out of there. You knew no one already burnt his BKB. That's when it starts getting really scary. And that was a pretty good fight for Vega. Yes, they end up losing it 2-1, but the way they initiated it and split it up and got a full Fiend script off, that's what they need to look for.
That dire observe what is watching no one. Old 11 really wants to jump and stun him. He's just not sure he can get it off. Well, back to our farming time. CTY gets to have the fun up at the top lane. Marsha's still in the neighborhood. Couple hundred gold away from having his BKB. Actually, with that, this fight's gonna look very, very different. Like, you've already got the BKB up. No one, which allowed him to stand during the last fight. When you get this on the Queen of Pain, how much of an impact is that going to have against EHOME's approach to the fight? Actually, does it do anything? Because the Earthshaker just blinks in and gets him before it gets the BKB off.
It depends. It's probably not going to matter as much in this game as in a lot of other games, because I think Pasha still has managed in previous fights to get a pretty decent Sonic Wave and Scream of Pain off. The thing it allows him to do is get multiple Screams off, since he can follow through. This physical damage from EHOME is not that scary yet. I say that, and I'm looking at a Luna with 250 and a Shadow Fiend with 200 without the Wolf Aura on him, but you know which direction this game is going in, and at some point this BKB is going to be pretty weak. I don't know if it's the right choice, to be honest.
Instead of actually going for something more like the Aghanim, so you've always got that ulti to keep the wave back and time, but like what else do you get? They try and go directly into the Scythe? Get control that way? It's pretty risky to go for that high jump.
If he's getting this to counter the Night Stalker Silence, he could have got a Yules, but I think he wants to counter Night Stalker Silence and the Shaker. But at the same time, like you said, if Shaker gets the jump, he's still not safe, and it doesn't scale him. It allows him to fight right now, but he isn't going to become a core this way.
Well, EHOME forcing the issue right now as Old 11 gets initiated on, and he'll get forced after wait. Do they have enough? The Fissure from Old 11 is able to connect. The Void keeping Mag away, so he can't keep chasing after that Earthshaker, who they try and protect as hard as they can. And Echo Slam is still their biggest team fight initiator for EHOME. And they come back in again. They got to realize there's a TA trap up there. But with no sentries down for EHOME, they don't see it. They just try and force it with the damage.
Blades.
Yeah, Old Chicken gets hurt pretty hard by that, but they get what they came for. Now EHOME just have to make sure they get out without any kind of exit kills.
If Vega initiate into darkness, they're going to get absolutely destroyed, I think. They have to be so careful.
Now Old 11's backed up, it's not as easy.
Let's see if Kaka buys the point booster now. Yep, okay. So now it's time.
Yeah. Even a Solar Crest already for the Abaddon. Like, you don't have a Butterfly on CTY, but attacking into him is going to be almost impossible. And Roshan spawns in just over a minute. That'll be the next critical moment, critical place for EHOME. And Vega, with this push up middle lane, it'll help gain some level of control over on the lanes before Roshan. But they do not want to overcommit.
It is daytime, and they know darkness is on cooldown.
But they don't see the Earthshaker. He's sitting in a perfect sandwich spot on the tree line. Mag will walk straight past him.
I think he had an opportunity there that he missed. He could have got a 2 or 3 man echo there, and that should be more than enough if they follow through with the clips. That's the nice synergy between Shaker and Luna, is that Shaker just clears out the creep wave with a good echo.
The only problem they had was it wasn't nighttime anymore.
Well, Eclipse gives them 10 seconds of night, so then Kaka can run in. You know?
If you can win a fight in 10 seconds, that's a pretty short clock.
Echo Slam is a really good ability for winning a fight in 10 seconds. But yeah, I mean, at the same time, you could say for EHOME, they don't need to take the risk. They know they're winning on farm. They've got a really substantial lead, actually 10,000 right now. Probably with a better late game too, since they have good counters for amplified damage. The Slaughter doesn't have the same impact as we're used to seeing.
I'm interested to see what CTY is going to be building into. He just used his wand charges and then sold his wand. Still holding on to almost 3.8k. It might also be so we can open up a slot for this Aegis the Immortal.
Yeah. I think it's going to be a butter CTY. But
it would make sense, but when you've already got the Solar Crest over an Abaddon, do you really need it? Like, it might almost be worthwhile getting something like a Skadi up.
I think a big percentage of the damage
no one
Vega
jumps in. There's your curse, and this time, again, it catches out Lanham. He's just a little bit too close, but there goes your ultimate. And Lanham just wants to back out with the crush. The Abaddon should die. They're attacking a hell of a lot before his ulti runs out, and Lanham does as much damage before his own death.
Nice curse.
Yeah. But that's 5 heroes. 5 heroes for Vega committing on this bottom lane.
They're going to get at least 1 time. They could get maybe 2. Knowing that Shaker is on the sideline should give them a lot of confidence, or they can get this, which is actually even better. Considering they're 10,000 gold behind, this is such a big play coming out from the Wyvern.
The SF Illusion scouts it out.
Doesn't matter, they can't fight this. There's no way they're going to even try. They're just going to split push the best they can, except that this did not go the way they wanted. And they're going to lose a tier 1 as well. This is a 5,000 gold swing with 1 fight, I think.
It's going to be a debate going on inside of EHOME. CTY actually bought a BKB and then sold it instantly after. Really uncertain about how they want to approach this game then.
And Vega must have quite a bit of confidence now, knowing that they have this just on the Templar. It allows no one to engage without using BKB and eating some key cooldowns from EHOME if they find a team fight.
Also lets him buy up some big items. If he wants to go directly into that crit or direct attack, he is going up against a Solar Crest. A potential evasion.
MKB has to be the choice. He's
Yeah.
playing against 2 natural butterfly carriers and a crest. It's a no-brainer here for no one. I'd be... Actually, any other item would be a surprise to me. Even a Daedalus. There's just too many good reasons for MKB.
Yep. I concur. City, wait, where's he going here? I'm almost wondering how long he thinks he can keep farming.
Why is he bringing a Satyr Banisher around with him?
Oh,
Does that...
they've had it for a while. I don't know what exactly they're trying to purge. But they're walking around...
Can you purge amplify damage with that? I guess you can, right?
Should be able to.
And it can farm the Ghost Camp. Nice. 7 damage. It will win in time. This 1 HP region from the Ghost is actually helping it a lot. Come on. Winner!
Middle lane, TA. Blinks away, Mag, he's jumping in over on Kaka. The 4 stars from both Mag as well as Kaka, pushing them out to safety. That was actually old 11 who was saving his teammate. I know the duel on top lane was important, but maybe the tier 2 tower is also important. No one, just keeps attacking in, and he's trying to force EHOME to attack. That soak up you were talking about. He's got the Aegis, he's sitting on the front line. Seema now starts the curse on the Earthshaker. They're removing him from the fight and Lanham. Mag controlled him perfectly with that Slither and Crush. And do they have enough damage? The Glaive's starting to bounce around. No one. He's getting carved apart. They can at least buy a little bit more time with that Cold Embrace. Remember, that's only part 1 of this fight. You might lose solo as well, but the Aegis brings him back up and he blinks away before the Eclipse from CTY can connect. He triggered his BKB for that one too, and Mag, well, he actually gets glimmered. Nope, nice Stalker. Had enough damage. It was the urn that was ticking him out. So it will end up being the Aegis pop. A 3-for-1 trade if we do count the Aegis.
That looked like a great initiation from Vega. They immediately blew up the Shaker. The Sonic Wave, I think, hit 2 other targets. But they're struggling to deal with the BKB on this. First of all, the Luna. I don't even know if they even had an opportunity to kill him there, but he just used it for safety. And of course the Abaddon again. As long as he's outside of range of that Winner's Curse, it's difficult for them to find a key target that they really want to kill.
They really land to have a Blink Dagger or a 4-staff. Like, because even though he was out of range of the curse, the fact that Slaughter just jumped over, like Mag knew, okay, Wyvern's going to come in from behind, they had the Observe Ward behind the tower, they knew where EHOME was, and he blinked himself forward to make sure that Abaddon was out of the fight.
I still think Aghanim Scepter is very valuable for him this game. If you look over Vega, just blocking, is it 35% of the damage he takes, I think? So 35% of all the damage that I think allies in 900 radius take gets redirected to him. I think that's how it works. So obviously when you pop your ultimate, you're going to heal to full extremely fast because you take so much damage, but it's more about the mitigation. 35% is extremely high, and the duration of this ultimate, I think, it's 7 seconds level 3. It's like a poor man's Guardian Angel with a 40-second cooldown. It is very good.
It doesn't,
We'll see.
It doesn't seem that poor.
There's
to
a
me.
lot of utility in the 4-staff or Blink as well, so I would agree with that.
Yeah. It just depends what he prioritizes. Because if Vega see that, then Vega will probably just stop touching him. Like, they'll move on to everybody else and try to kill him off.
50% redirect. It used to be 35. It must have been buffed a lot. Man, that's sick. That's super sick. I like Abaddon, can you tell? Oh,
Mag,
there we go.
Blink forward, Abaddon's still waiting for this. He hasn't let the shield off an old chicken. Now it's there with the Echo Slam. It's so harder. Man, Mag is evaporated in thin air. The Sonic Wave will fly back, but Lana, well, all he does is trigger his ulti. The curse, however, Seema, perfect time. The bouncing glaives and old chicken, just above 100 life, is able to survive. Vega can't finish the job, and with the fissure, they actually find Seema. They keep the sun going. He can't protect himself inside that Glimmer Cape.
That's
and
gem.
EHOME take 2 big kills. They grab the gem into their hands.
I don't think they saw it.
They
actually.
didn't.
They missed it.
Yeah, it's just sitting on the hill. They don't.
Old 11? Nope.
They've already got a gem of their own too, coming out in the
go
courier.
mid. Let's go mid. They need to be a little bit careful, though. They used a lot of ability there.
They still have Eclipse in the BKB of CTY, and that's going to give him more than enough confidence.
Right, Glyph is going to be used.
If they get enough mana back into the SF, he could even use Requiem, because that entire fight went with that old chicken Requiem off.
That's true. Speaking of key abilities, Vega might have actually used more. Used Grip, Curse, and Sonic Wave. They're gonna take the tower and go back, playing it safe.
It's one of these sad times when you look at an SF and you understand he's got so much power but can't use any of it because he burns through so much when he goes for the early raises and uses the mech charge.
Old 11, are you looking at your hero? Oh!
Yeah, the ping. Yeah, SF sees it.
Nice.
Lanham will take it.
Man, if only Vega knew they would sent a courier there a long time ago. I think they can't believe it.
Man, if EHOME knew, they could have saved themselves a huge amount of money because they bought the gem only like a couple of maybe 20 seconds before that fight began.
It's more difficult to predict that you're going to kill the enemy gem carrier than to see it on the ground.
That's very true. I will not debate that at all. But by EHOME now having this gem, the TA trap's going to disappear from the map. The observer wards of Vega have also been mopped up. And the only vision they've really got is that trap sitting inside the Roche pit. And that's only going to be useful in, well, potentially a minute and a half.
And EHOME should be getting back their 10k lead now. See, there's one moment of greatness for Vega, and then they made a little hat in the graph. Now we're back to...
It's the one moment of greatness. I'm still looking at something that's so great that he's sitting at the top net worth. It's the Templar Assassin. He's sitting at 19k net worth. The Monkey King bar is done. If he can actually get the Daedalus as well, he could destroy EHOME. It only takes one good coordinated fight. I'm actually wondering then if Curse really helps him out. You curse and you line everyone up, but you do still have that reduced damage.
Yeah, that is true. They need to put the curse on a nice target and then wait with Sonic Wave. Wait until it's just about to expire, then throw in the Sonic Wave. Of course, Templar Assassin has to be hitting the guy who's cursed, and sometimes in teamfights that's a little bit difficult to identify and click it correctly.
Then is it worthwhile holding back on Mag's initiation? So if you can get something like that, like Glimmer Cape into a big curse on the Wyvern, then you wait for it to end and Mag jumps in with a Blink Dagger to get the crush off.
Yes.
That'll keep that control going, so
that is
then the TA can do the damage.
The best thing they can do. It is also very difficult to get that set up, but should they do it, they could probably win the team fight off the back of it. But again, there's always the wild card in Abaddon. Even if he's caught the curse, in which case using his ult won't help. The moment the crush is on, he can take that with borrowed time and save one of his characters. And all he needs to do is get a Photic Shield off so they can BKB.
Yeah. Oh, Vega, if they do get that lockdown, that TA is hitting at 400, not including when she crits. That is including the refraction charges, however.
And he is so farmed.
Yeah. If that full Daedalus is done, it's only going to take one, maybe two hits to rip apart almost all of EHOME.
I'm not sure if Daedalus is actually the right choice, though. It's always very tempting to go super high damage on TA, but I think there could have been a lot of value in getting a Butterfly at this point, so you can, first of all, use the flutter to stay on targets in the fight if you need to, and more importantly, it improves your refraction, because a lot of the attacks will actually miss, and you will keep it running for longer. It looks like EHOME are planning to threaten mid, but Vega are seemingly ready for it. By the way, this ward inside the Radiant base is extremely good right now for you.
Has he so much? And because you lost the gem, you can't de-ward it. They put a Radiant Sentry out to try and get rid of that, but that's almost going to give him a little too much confidence. Vega going to group up. Looks like it's smoke time again. They're not fully ready to go. Like, Solo still hasn't finished up this Vladimir's, which he attempted to start. Well, he did start before. But the smoke moved. Mag to the front lines. EHOME, they're bailing out of here. They got the Aghanim Scepter up, so Mag's gonna be visible very early on. Jumps forward to a chicken. He's so tanky though with that fresh Scardy done. And Vega, they move over. Look for that side blade damage. The curse is Alan on chicken. No one needs a little bit more. And the SF can't get the mech off. He'll die as the first casualty of war. And the blink away. Partial survive with the Echo Slam. Back in from all one. And CTY is eclipsed. It does way too much damage. A double kill, a monster kill for CTY. And they'll chase even further. The blink is still on cooldown for all 11, but he'll force up, looking for the stun over on Seema. The loser beam will set up for the follow-up fissure, and then Kaka can go to work with the rest of his team. Wyvern can cold embrace himself all he wants, but he's lost 4 heroes. Only the Templar Assassin has buyback, and EHOME will make a beeline for that mid-rax.
And I actually think that could have gone even better for EHOME. Lanham kept holding on to borrowed time through the Orchid. He could have taken off the Orchid with Borrow Time and cast the Aphotic Shield on Shadow Fiend, I think he might have been able to save him in that fight. But regardless, they get a 4-for-1. Exceptionally good fight for them. And this is one of the things that Luna is so extremely good at, is sieging the base. But when you take down the tower, so you allow these glaives to bounce across all the buildings, it increases her damage on this build. I don't know by how much, but it's
the fact
a lot.
it's not just that too. Like you look at Solo try and come back in. He takes a little bit of glaive damage and Ori drops down to 3/4 of his life. That's not even intentional damage from the Luna. There's a couple of illusions left behind. And now she becomes even stronger. A full Satanic done, combining up with the Assault Cuirass. This really is just your frontline tank that you're searching for.
Oh, and I have to correct myself, by the way. I just realized. All right, we don't see this hero very often. Borrow Time can be activated while disabled but not silenced. So it's the one counter. So there's a reason Venom didn't do it. When you're Orchided, it's a little counterintuitive because Aphotic Shield can remove silences on others. And you're thinking, okay, this hero is built around purging and removing debuffs, but you can't remove silences on yourself. That's the only downside there is. So that was actually, he did what he could in that situation.
I won't judge you, Syndrome.
Thank you so much. But yeah, EHOME with a great play. They get the Rax mid. They take a very easy Roshan here. Putting the Aegis on the Shadow Fiend instead of Luna, I think is the right choice.
They could finally be aggressive with the SF. SF almost wants to die so he can get his mech charge off for once. He's gone through the last 4 fights and never used his mech. Even its Requiem has been very rarely used. The only issue for him at the moment is the fact he doesn't have max souls, but the Nightmare might be another one, but you've already gotten through the tower, so the glaives are making it very difficult for Vega to get forward. Even Slaughter having that blink dagger come down. It's better that the buildings are out, and CDY, he dodges with the Mana Style and no one. Isolated outside, they get the curse on CDY, buying a little bit of space, but Ult Chicken now winds up that ulti, buying time. There's your Eclipse, no one's down, and this will probably even be the game right now. It's home, there it is, GG, well played. They are rampaging through the Vega base. As the EHOME combo, the unique picks, they work and they take in #1 in this best of 3.
That was such a cool draft. I hope EHOME have more of these strategies up their sleeves. Not only showing off the Abaddon pick, but of course the Luna here. Exceptional performance from everyone in the team.
It's amazing how well the lanes worked as well for EHOME. You didn't really feel Vega controlling early on. Like the Templar Assassin was probably their strongest lane out of all 3.